Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing all well. So we will see today's daily challenge on Leetcode and we will try to solve it together. Construct product matrix. We have a zero index 2D integer grid which is of size n cross m, and uh, we need to define another 2D matrix P of size n cross m as same as the product matrix of the grid if the following conditions is met. Each element Pij is calculated by the product of all the element of the grids except for the grid ij. Okay, and the product is then taken modulo 1 2 3 4 5, return the product of matrix of the grid. So if you see, if you have a simple 2 cross 2 grid like this, 1 2 3 4, what will be your answer? So in the I comma jth position, except the I comma j, you need to multiply all the values. So 2 into 4 into 3 is nothing but 24, except 1 I multiplied it all. Okay, now when I am trying to fill this cell, this corresponding to I won't take, except that I will multiply all the things. So 1 3 4 is nothing but 12. Similarly, it will be a 8 here and a 6 over here. So this will be your final answer matrix which you need to return. Okay, so one obvious way to do is that you first traverse through the grid. Okay, traverse through all the grid elements and then try to divide that. Okay, so let's say you traverse through the all the elements and store the final product. Okay, so you know the final product will be nothing but 1 into 2 into 3 into 4, and you get a 24 over here, right? In this way, okay, you get a 24, and once you get this 24, you can just divide whatever element is present in this matrix. So whenever you get, if you want to obtain 12, you can easily divide 24 by 2. If you want to obtain 8, you can easily divide 24 by 3 and so on. Okay, but this question has been designed in such a way that you cannot use the division operator. Okay, you cannot use division operator. Okay, why? If you try to use that, you see, a by b, if you try to do, there is a modulo also you have to do. Okay, so a by b modulo is not a simple a mod b by b mod b, something like that. Even if you try to calculate that using div mod ab, okay, there may not be an modulo inverse of everything, because here the mod is 1 2 3 4 5, which is not a prime number. It is divisible by 5. Okay, so you cannot obtain a multiplicative inverse of this. So generally when you have to do a modulo of a by b, something like this, you find the inverse mod for this. So a mod b you do, and you multiply this by 1 by b mod. Okay, and then take the whole mod. So modulo inverse, this thing is known as modulo inverse. I have shown it in the previous, some of my previous videos also, how to calculate this div mod. Okay, but in this problem you can't even do that, because this modulo is not a prime number, it is a multiple of 5. So essentially in no ways you can use this division operator. Okay, so you have to think of some ways without using the division operator. Okay, you cannot use the division operator. So I hope you will try this problem on your own first, and then only continue watching the video. So let's see the solution. One solution is very obvious, that uh, just try to take the product of the prefix and the suffix. So imagine this was a 1D array. What would you have done? And you want to calculate the product without taking this element. So if you at this position, if you know what is my suffix product, okay, what is my suffix prefix product as well as suffix product. So let's say product of all the elements before this, let's say you know that is some prefix p, and product of all the elements after this, let's say you know some that is some suffix s. Then you can obtain at this position what is the product apart from this element. You can just multiply p into s. Okay, so in this way you could have done similar thing, very similar thing you can do for a matrix. Okay, so if you are at position, let's say in this cell, let's call this cell as I comma j, you can store all the prefix product. Okay, so you can calculate the product of all the elements in the first row, let's say all of these products till this point. Okay, till this point you calculate and store it in some variable suffix, or you can also multiply it. And then again go on to calculate the suffix and then multiply the suffix also, whatever you call this prefix and this one suffix, and you just multiply this prefix and the suffix, and that will be your answer. So I hope the idea was very simple. There is no confusion in that. So the idea, I will like to iterate it one more time. Essentially, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 matrix, if you have an array 1, 2, 3, 4, how would you have calculated? You can use the product, prefix, and the suffix. So the suffix for this is 2 into 3 into 4, and prefix you can not is nothing. It means that it is 1. So you can just calculate that to get 24. Again, when you are at element number 2, you know that my prefix is 1 and my suffix is 3 into 4, 12, right? So you can multiply your P and S. When you are at position 3, you know that your prefix has now become 2 and your suffix has now become 4. You can just multiply 2 into 4 to get 8. And similarly for 4, you get 6. I hope this you can also do for a matrix by calculating the prefix and suffix. Okay, so yeah, that is, I hope the idea is very clear and easy to understand. Okay. So idea wise, there should not be any problem. And if you think you can now implement this problem on your own, you are free to drop off from the video and try this on your own. Okay. So yeah, but we will try to solve it in a very neat and optimized manner. So let's see the coding portion. We have the number of rows as m and number of columns, which is nothing but n. Okay. So let me just save these values. And what I will try to do is modify the grid in place without creating a new answer. That will help me to save some space complexity. So what I will do, let's have a prefix p equals to 1. Okay. So as I move through the grid, so I will have a for loop I less than m, I plus plus, and for int I int j equals to 0, j less than n, j plus plus. Okay. So what you want to do is that you want to calculate the prefix at every position, which will be nothing but prefix into, so you want a modulo also, so it will be nothing but prefix into grid ij. Okay, so yeah, you can store this in this way, uh, prefix into grid ij. And the result product, you can store it something like this. How will you store it? First have the p only, and so I think it won't be possible for this to have do in place operation. Okay, so I guess we will need an answer metric. Mhm. Yeah, let me try to think. If my result is p and I'm modifying p, for that particular cell, I am having the prefix part of my answer. I also need to make the suffix part in a different for loop, right? Uh, Yeah, and while making the suffix part also, I will be requiring to have this grid ij. So essentially, I don't think we can uh, change this grid in place. Okay. So what I will do is try to create a vector int answer. Okay. So yeah, I can place a 1 over here, m cross n. I just created an answer, and answer will be nothing but this p. Okay. The prefix which is obtained so far. So my answer now has this answer ij, and call this answer ij. Uh, and my answer ij now contains the prefix value which I have encountered so far. Okay, and then I am updating my that prefix value. Now for this, I have to reverse iterate the loop, right? Uh, in order to go from backwards to calculate the suffix value now. So what to do for that? If you see j greater than or equals to 0, I hope this is clear. You're just iterating it from the backwards. So once you have this, you will be left with answer ij multiplied by instead of prefix, I have want to have a suffix over here. So my this will be s. Okay, and this whole answer ij will be multiplied with the suffix which I have obtained so far. And again, in order to place a mod over here, I will need to convert it into long and then place a mod. Okay, so yeah, that is what that is all about. That you, I hope you can just return answer, and that will be all, you see. So you try to iterate through the prefix, store the prefix every time, and before just updating the prefix, as you need the cell just before that. Okay, you need till the cell just before the current cell. You just store your answer, the prefix part of the answer, and whenever you get the suffix in a separate for loop, you just multiply the suffix with that. Okay, you just you store the prefix at first, and then whenever you get the suffix value also in a separate iteration, you just store the suffix and just multiply it. It's okay. So yeah, that is all. Should be all. Let's see. Let's try to run it for all the cases and see if there is any error in our approach. Okay, so I have forgotten to initialize this modulo, so that will be nothing but 1e9 plus 7. Okay, so okay, so sorry, this is not 1e9 plus 7, this is 1 2 3 4 5 as it is told in the question. Okay, so let's see if it still works. Yeah, it does work perfectly fine. If we try to submit it for all the cases, you see, we also do have a pretty decent runtime as well as memory complexity, as we are not essentially having the prefix and suffix array, any separate prefix and suffix array. We are calculating it on the fly and storing it in the answer value. So yeah, that is all. That is all. You see, we do have a very decent runtime as well as memory complexity. That's all. That's all for this solution. I hope the approach as well as the solution was pretty simple for today, and I hope you have understand it very clearly. Okay. So yeah, that's all. That's all for this video. I will meet you in the next video. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Till then, thanks a lot.